Hi Year 3, welcome to Tuesday's reading session. Now, before we have another look in this book to find out some more interesting information about magic, I just wanted to remind you that even though you're at home, you can still earn 5 dojo points a week for reading every day. You might choose to send through a photo of your completed RED record if you've got one, like Flo has, or it's fine to just email us and let us know what you've been reading. We can add on your 5 dojo points from home. It's a great opportunity, lockdown, to spend some more time reading for pleasure. Okay, before we have a look at this book, let's get started with a little starter activity. For today's starter, we're going to practice reading with expression, and we're going to keep an eye out for the adverbs in the sentence to help us. Have a look at each sentence. Which words do you think are the adverbs? Well done if you spotted. They're the words at the end of the sentence, and we can recognise them because they end ly. They're describing how something is being done. In this case, how Abdul Qassam is saying, "Let the magic begin." See if you can read each sentence, and how does the adverb change how you read it? I'm going to have a go for my turn at the first one. I can see that the adverb is quietly, so this is how I'm going to read it. "Let the magic begin," said Abdul Qassam quietly. Can you have a go at the other three? How are you going to change your voice based on the adverb? Have fun. Before we start reading today's text, let's have a look at some of the tricky vocabulary we might come across again. Let's read the 3 words at the top together. These are the same as yesterday. Equipment, various, audience. Well done. Let's have a look at the word joining. What's the root word? Well done if you said join. And what suffix has been added? That's right, it's the ing suffix. Now I have a little word at the bottom. Let's read it together. Dazzling. The magician performed a dazzling trick. Now the root word is, well done if you said dazzle. What had to happen to the root word before adding the ing suffix? Well done if you've spotted that we've had to remove the e before adding the ing. Dazzle becomes dazzling. Here's a little challenge for you. In your exercise book, can you think of any other root words ending e where the e has to be removed before adding the ing, just like we had to do with dazzle? See if you can think of 2 or 3 extra examples to write in your book. Now let's have another look at our magic vocabulary from yesterday. Can you read the 3 words in blue at the top? Escape, dramatic, dazzle. And can you remember what our new exciting word means? Sleight, as in sleight of hand. A set of secret skillful actions used to hide what a magician is really doing in order to complete a trick. Yesterday we had a look at dazzle in more detail. Let's try dramatic today. Say it, dramatic. Shout it, dramatic. Whisper it, dramatic. Clap it, dramatic. How many syllables? Well done if you said 3. Act it. Can you act out something in a dramatic way? And finally, we're going to see if we can use it in a sentence. My sentence is, Natalie performed a dramatic trick. Now it's my turn to read our text again, but see if you can follow the words with your finger, because tomorrow we're going to try our turn and read it together. Tools of the trade. It doesn't matter what tools magicians use to dazzle their audience, the best performers can make magic from almost anything. However, there are a few pieces of equipment that all magicians should have in their box of tricks. Silks. These colourful handkerchiefs are small enough to be scrunched up and hidden in various places. Magicians use silks for tricks that involve production, as pulling them out of the air looks dramatic. Cups and balls. A favourite of street performers, magicians have been dazzling audiences with various cups and balls routines for years. A deck of cards. A standard deck of cards contains 52 playing cards that divides into 4 suits: diamonds, hearts, clubs and spades. Each suit is made up of 9 numbered cards: a jack, queen, king and an ace. Rope.
In addition to being used by escape artists, rope is used for many magic tricks. Rope tricks usually involve changing a rope's length, joining pieces of rope together, or cutting a length of rope into pieces and making it whole again. And here's a fact. A lot of more advanced magic tricks require special equipment, such as trick card decks, coins that bend in half, and boxes with secret compartments. Cards. Playing cards are probably the most famous tool that a magician has at their disposal. Magicians love them because they're small enough to manipulate, but also have lots of different uses. Linking rings. A stage magic classic. Linking rings are a number of metal hoops that pass through each other and link up to create chains. Magicians have been performing tricks with linking rings for hundreds of years. Coins. A favourite tool of sleight of hand experts. Coins can be used for many amazing tricks. However, a lot of coin tricks can be very difficult and so take a lot of practice to master.
Can you remember which Viper skill we're practicing this week? It's retrieve. We're going to retrieve information from the text to answer questions, and in order to retrieve, to take that information out of the text, we're going to need to use our skimming and scanning skills to find the right place where the information is. Let's see if I can have a go.
Why do magicians love using cards? I wonder what I could skim or scan for to help me find that information on the page. I think cards would be a good thing to skim and scan for. Let's have a go. I know it's difficult to skim and scan when you haven't got the text in front of you, so today we're going to need to skim and scan back through the video when I read it to see if we can find the correct part of the text to help us. So this bit was on coins. Let's scan a little bit further back. This was on linking rings, but I'm looking for cards. Let's skim and here we go. Here's the information on cards. I can press pause. Magicians love them because they're small enough to manipulate, but also have lots of different uses. I've managed to retrieve my answer. Now it's our turn. How long have magicians been performing tricks with linking rings? Which section of the text will you skim and scan back to in the video to find out the information about linking rings? Have a go. Write down your answer in your exercise book, then press play and we'll look together. Right, let's flick back through the video and have a look together. Let's skim and scan. That's cups and balls. That's a deck of cards. We don't need that. We're looking for information about the linking rings. There's rope. Let's keep skipping forward. That's another fact about something else. That's about cards again. Let's see if here it is, linking rings. Magicians have been performing tricks with linking rings for hundreds of years. Well done if you wrote down hundreds of years. Super retrieval skills. Now it's your turn. In your exercise book, can you have a go at retrieving the information you need to answer these questions? For each one, skim and scan back through the video to find the right part of the video where you can find the information. For the 3 chili challenge, it's a bit of a reversal to really challenge you. This time I've given you the answer, rope. Can you skim and scan to find information about rope and think of a question sentence where rope would be the answer?
Well done, Year 3, for showing super retrieval skills today. Join us for tomorrow's reading lesson and we'll go through some of those answers at the start. Now, just before we finish today, this is your chance to enjoy a few more pages from our class text, Fizzlebert Stump, the boy who ran away from the circus and joined the library. Let's read a few more pages.
It's basically the same as the Brewster's backfiring blaster bomb, but on a larger scale. Only, he added, I must remember to do the fire trick after I've pulled the rabbit out. Otherwise... Is cooked rabbit for dinner? Fizz asked mischievously. No, Dr. Surprise squeaked in a pretend frenzy. You nasty boy, how dare you suggest such a thing? I couldn't eat Flopples. She's been a friend to me for more years than I can count on one hand. 6 years? Fizz suggested, knowing that Dr. Surprise always counted with his fingers. No, more years than I can count on my left hand. 5 years then. Yes, for 5 years Flopples and I have been best friends, comrades in magic, associates in otherworldliness. She has helped my show soar to their great heights, and no one can take that away from her. Flopples, as you'll have realised, was the rabbit that Dr. Surprise pulled from his hat halfway through the show. You might also be wondering what happened to the missing finger on his left hand, but all I'll say about that is be very careful if ever you try training a rabbit with a carrot that's too short. They discussed this new trick for a while before Fizz started asking Dr. Surprise about hypnotism. He always asked Dr. Surprise about hypnotism because it was Fizz's favourite bit of the Doctor's show. It seemed the Wars of the Roses had been completely forgotten. Hypnotism is the art of putting someone into a state of suggestion. That means that they'll do whatever you ask them to, even if it's something quite silly, like hopping on one leg or pretending to be a cat, or even pretending to be a cat that's hopping on one leg. That's exactly the sort of thing that makes an audience laugh nervously. It's very funny, just so long as it's not you that's been hypnotised. Fizz had seen the show many times. He'd watched Dr. Surprise slowly and steadily swing his pocket watch to and fro, and laughed at how the perfectly ordinary, normal, boring people out of the audience would do what he said. It looked so simple. "Just concentrate on my watch," he would say. "You are getting sleepy." And they'd answer and say, "I am getting sleepy." And then he'd say, "When I count to 10, you will obey only my voice." And then he would count up to 10, and the person would say, "Yes, master." He always asked them to call him master because it was scary, and scary is good for business. Then he would say, "When I snap my fingers, you will wake up and remember nothing of what has happened." And after he'd had them pretend to be dogs and jump through hoops, or pretend to be chickens and scratch at the sawdust looking for grain, he'd snap his fingers, and they'd say, "Have you started yet?" Not realising that he had not only started but also finished, and they'd go and sit back down thinking nothing had happened, until their friends told them all about it later on. Fizz thought it was brilliant and funny, and also a bit scary, and he'd been badgering Dr. Surprise to teach him the trick for months, but the Doctor was very careful about not revealing all of his secrets. "Go on," Fizz said today. "No, I cannot reveal my powers to you, Fizzlebert Stump. They bring me a great responsibility, and I must keep them hidden, for fear they might fall into the wrong hands of some evil doer." "Oh, go on, it's only me." "No, I cannot. Now I think this lesson is over. Look, it is almost 11 o'clock. I must begin rehearsing the new trick." "Setting fire to your hat?" "Yes, so you'd best run along." "OK," Fizz said, "bye then." But Fizz lingered in the Doctor's doorway, 1 foot on the steps, and fresh air already in his lungs. And there he paused just for a moment. He had wanted to ask Dr. Surprise for some advice, but had forgotten until now. It was only when leaving the caravan that he picked up the book he'd found the night before and had remembered. But Dr. Surprise wanted to be getting on with his new trick, and Fizz didn't want to delay him any longer. As he hesitated, the Doctor raised a finger in the air with a mysterious flourish and said, "Wait, I sense that there is something you wish to ask me, yes?" "Well," Fizz said, but before he could ask his question, Dr. Surprise spoke again. "You want to know about that book, yes? Am I right?" "Wow," said Fizz, quite amazed. How on earth did you know that?" "Well," said the Doctor, smiling widely under his tiny moustache. Of course, Fizz shouldn't have been surprised at all. I mean, he knew that Dr. Surprise was a mind reader, but also he might have noticed that he'd been clutching the book and lingering as if to say, "I want to say something about this, but I'm not sure I should." I'm just saying, it's worth remembering that it doesn't always take a mind reader to read a mind. Fizzlebert told him the story of how he'd found the book, though he didn't mention about how the kids had taken the mickey out of him before running away laughing. "Well, let me see," Dr. Surprise said, taking the book from him. "Ah, look, do you know what this is?" He had opened the front cover, and there pasted inside the book was a flap of paper with 2 columns of dates stamped in blue ink. Fizz had wondered about that earlier, but didn't know quite what to make of it. "This is a library book. You see the dates? They tell you when the book has to be taken back." "Taken back where?" "Back to the library." What's a library?" asked Fizz. Now, of course, you know what a library is, and you're probably thinking that everyone knows what a library is. But you have to remember that Fizzlebert had grown up in a travelling circus. He had never lived anywhere long enough to learn about a library, let alone to join one and borrow books. So please don't think him stupid for not knowing. I mean, I bet you don't know what a corde parade is, but Fizz did. It's a circus act in which the performer does spectacular, graceful, astonishing acrobatic things on a rope that hangs straight down from the highest point of the big top. So now you know. And now Fizz is learning about libraries. Everyone's learnt something. What a very useful book this is. It's a place where books are kept, said the doctor, explaining about the library. You say you only met the boy whose book this was briefly, and you don't know where he is now. Well, there's only one thing to do, isn't there? Is there? Yes, this book is due back tomorrow, and if it isn't returned to the library, your new friend will be in trouble. In trouble? Oh, yes. It's a very serious thing having a book out too long. Is it? Oh, yes. Very serious indeed. What if someone else wants to read this? What would happen then? I don't know. No, and neither do I. Very serious. What can we do? And we'll wait to find out tomorrow what Fizz and Dr. Surprise decide to do.